Hi, my name is Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and this is the sixth session in our quarterly game of the Yellow King role-playing game by Robin D. Laws. This game was organised as part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. If you're not familiar, the Gauntlet is an online community that organises, as you see, plays and discusses a whole lot of role-playing games, especially Indian story games. If that's something that you'd be interested in, please come check us out. Jump into a game. The website where you can find out more information is gauntlet-rpg.com. If you're watching this in August, I guess we're a couple of months out from our next Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend, which will be a weekend of free one-shot, two-shot, short type games that anyone can jump into. So if you're interested in trying out a game with us, that's a good opportunity that will be coming up soon. Can I ask my players to introduce themselves now? So we'll just go around the order that you're on the character keeper, I think. Let's see. Can I get Brandon to lead off, please?
Happy to do so. Hi, I'm Brandon. I've been with the Gauntlet for a little over a year now and have enjoyed such an extraordinary variety of games as I thought I'd never have the chance. But this may be the most surreal of them.
I think the last game that I ran for you was Visigoths versus Molgoths, so it was a high bar of surrealism to clear. But
I thought that one was very straightforward and realistic. I mean, given the premise, once you accept that there are teenage Visigoths here and there now, or rather back in the 90s, then everything else flows naturally, I thought.
This is very true.
You're in so many games, Brandon. You're in so many games. I know for sure because you're in almost every game that I'm in, and then I look past like my own games and see you're in other games too. So that's freaking insane.
I had a solitary life for a while there, especially after getting out of the hospital. So the Gauntlet came to the rescue.
And can I get you also to introduce Francois Rostand?
Mm-hmm. I'm playing Lieutenant Francois Rostand, a Frenchman who is the head of the small investigative unit of military police, a man around the age of 40 who has seen a little bit too much, but perseveres for the sake of, as he terms it, the great fallen, all those who have died in this war, to which number is added to, of course, every year that this conflict goes on.
Indeed. Thank you. Nicholas.
Hi, I'm Nicholas. I am fairly new to the Gauntlet. I've been here approaching a year. It's been a blast. It's a lot of fun joining the games that everyone runs. It really introduced me to games that run for less than 2 or 3 years, which is novel and exciting. I am playing Alphonse, basically the muscle of the party, low-ranked private, and looking forward to cracking some heads and finding out what is going on in this mysterious camp that we're visiting.
Well, so you weren't here next week. Can I just check? Like, are you up to date on what's happened, or should I?
I watched it, but then the week happened, and I kind of forgot a lot of it. I remember
in the same boat as the rest of us. Then.
Okay, good.
Cool. Matthew.
I don't know what you're all talking about. I remember exactly what happened. At least. But that's because I have far less to front load into my brain. Hi, I'm Matthew. I go by him pronouns. I am playing. I have been playing with the Gauntlet for I think about a year. I actually don't really keep track of how long I've been with the Gauntlet. I just cheat and look to the people who have been playing roughly around the same time as I am, and I believe you're close, right, Shane? We started roughly close.
I think so.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so however long Shane has been playing, I've been playing. Yeah, I would really enjoy playing the Gauntlet because we get to meet lots of different, interesting players with different personalities. I'm always so jazzed to encounter, you know, a wild, diverse set of characters and play types. Um, Today I'll be playing Dakota Sterling, a working class girl who was uh, who was chosen to be for sponsorship by a reclusive and wealthy woman. And since then, her studies have been fully financed, and since then she has become a photographer and is appointed to the front lines of the war as a photo chronicler of sorts.
Nice. And Puckett, please.
Hey there, I am Puckett. I am ageless, deathless, and eternal. I've been playing on the Gauntlet for a while. And tonight I'll be playing Sergeant Jack Hardesty. He's not exactly the muscle. He's more of a cleaner, if you will. He sanitizes things that need to be sanitized. And he and the lieutenant have worked together for a while and kind of have an understanding. The lieutenant gets to drop a hint or two, and Jack goes off, and bad things happen to worse people, and the lieutenant has less of a troubled conscience than he otherwise might. And hoo boy, last session. It's a good thing Private Lopedy was on the detail that he was, because that offered him a chance to get out. So, at least I am. That's something that I'm. That is warming whatever remains of my cold black heart.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah.
So at the end of the last session, where we left off is that Jack had captured Nurse Sicard and was in the process, or had set her little cottage on fire. Alphonse was in. Sorry?
She did that.
Well, she did it the first time.
She was the one who set a trap. I just made sure that the trap was sprung while we weren't in it.
All right, good correction. Thank you. Alphonse had taken a turn and was in the infirmary. I think, just in the interest of getting you back into the game quickly, I might assume that you heard what the rest of your unit had done and have gone off and will be catching up with Jack Hardesty, just outside that cottage as we start. The lieutenant and Dakota are in the lounge room of Dr. Barbeau, having broken in through the window and been attacked by a large mechanical lion of some kind. So I'll come back to your scene with the lion in just a minute, but I just wanted to flag, there was some discussion last week about what exactly your goal in the combat would be, and it was a little hard to settle on. So if you guys want to discuss that in the text chat while I start with a scene with the Sergeant and Dakota, that might be helpful. And just a reminder, your choices are, it's difficulty 8 to kill, difficulty 2 to escape out of the house, and it seemed like you were contemplating some sort of just escaping upstairs. If what you want is to kind of barricade it downstairs so that you can get up and away from it, that would be a difficulty 6. But that will leave you with the problem that you need to get out of the house eventually, and the lion is barricaded downstairs. So just something for you both to think about. So Alphonse, you head into town. You see the sergeant up ahead. You probably passed by Lepidi as he headed back to base. He might have directed you. You see that the building is on fire. Some of the neighbours are coming out to see exactly what's going on. And you see that there is Nurse Sicard, who you would have seen around the base, bound and sitting in the street just outside. What do you do?
I approach the sergeant and give him an appropriate salute and say, "Sir, is everything all right? Do we need to do anything about that?" Pointing at the fire.
I'm smoking and I'm kind of cradling my gun in my arms. So it's at the ready and sending a clear and present message to the neighbors.
Mhm.
And I look at you and say, first of all, sir is for officers. I'm a working man.
Yes, sir.
Second, and I just like look at you, shake my head and say, does anything need to be done about it? Got any marshmallows?
One of the neighbors who's watching will definitely like call out and say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Are they calling it out at me?
Yeah, or at the two of you.
She
I
burned
feel
her
like we
house
should.
down. I decided to let her.
Shouldn't we, throw some buckets on that, or?
Alphonse, that is a conversation for the walk back to rendezvous with the lieutenant. In the
Okay.
meantime, we are going to stand here and make sure that it burns to the ground. If anyone takes exception to that, I expect you to dissuade them.
All right.
In whatever force you deem appropriate, beginning at just telling them, if necessary, blocking them or restraining them, and if it comes down to it, shooting them.
So, with a little bit of a swagger, Alphonse pulls up to the side of Jack and keeps his hand close to his gun, eyeballing the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Realizes he doesn't have a cigarette and asks Jack if he has a cigarette to spare.
And I pull one. I pull my pack out of my pocket, snap it just so, and 2 cigarettes appear.
Perfect.
And I'll light
And
one with the butt of the last one.
oh, thank you. And gaze suspiciously out at the neighborhood. Surely we've done something great here, and there's a foe to be stopped. Just
Is there something you're asking me?
Yeah, I mean, we're watching it burn, but are you expecting someone to try to stop us?
Alphonse? Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I guess that there's two things that you notice as it continues to burn. One is that more and more of the neighbors are coming out. They're muttering amongst themselves. They don't look happy that some outsiders have come, seem to have arrested one of them, and burned one of the houses down, or are in the process of allowing it to burn. The other thing that you notice is that the smoke has a kind of strange yellow color.
I make sure that I'm not downwind of that. That doesn't look good.
So it doesn't take too long before you see. You might recall a couple of sessions ago you met some peasants who were out hunting near the village, and you recognize Paul Chastel, who was one of those villagers that you spoke to, and him and a couple of his hunting buddies are coming down the street towards where you're standing. You can see that they have hunting rifles slung on their backs, but there's nothing overtly threatening about the approach.
I'm gonna tell Jack. Jack, let me go talk to him. If you don't mind, I'll see if I can clear their intentions before they get too close to the house that you're watching.
Alphonse,
Yes, sir.
I'll explain more as we walk away. Keep your gun at the ready and make sure you're ready to use it.
All right.
Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of an echo. Could I just ask people to mute themselves when they're not talking, please? Thanks. Would either Alphonse or Jack like to make a sense trouble test?
What's your sense trouble?
It's very not good. I've got a 2 in that.
All right. Well, in that case, what the hell? I'll go ahead and do it. So what's the difficulty that I'm shooting for?
So you don't find out the difficulty for a sense trouble test.
Oh, are you seriously?
They have.
All
The
right.
rules are very adamant on this point.
They've
Okay.
historically been like 4 or 5. But
I mean, the
that
typical
doesn't-
difficulty for anything in this game is a 4.
All right. So I'm going to put 3 points into that sense trouble roll. 1d6.
Mhm.
And that's an 8.
Nice. So it's almost unnoticeable, but the fire glints off the rifle of one of the snipers up on the rooftops nearby, and you realize there's actually a pair of them with rifles trained down on you and Alphonse.
And I yell, Alphonse, cover. And I
All right.
dive into cover.
Right. Well, let's come back to this scene in just a minute, but I want to see what's happening for the lieutenant and Dakota. Did you decide what your goal is going to be in the combat? What have you decided?
My feeling was that if we fled now, we learned nothing, and if we did anything that didn't result in the incapacitation of this lion, then we might not be able to flee subsequently.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're going.
I yelled in the moment before I did a sense trouble. So if you'll give me the
That's right. Yep.
narrative ability, as the lion begins to activate, I yell to Dakota, "Help me with this," and snatch up the axle that was lying on the ground here, and brace it against the bottom step.
Mm-hmm.
And when the lion, I will hold it as the lion charges until the very last moment, and then and then dodge out of the way and hope it is no more cunning than that. So
okay. I think. Okay. So if we want to jump to the combat tracker tab, that is a difficulty of 8 to kill or disable it. You both need to decide how many points you're going to spend on your fighting test.
Mm-hmm.
yes, well, I'm not fooling around.
So
there's not a lot of nuance here. Well, you decide how many points you're going to spend. You roll a die, add that, and if you get less than an 8, you'll be sorry.
All right. So the both of us need to get an 8 to escape this unscathed.
That is.
Isn't that right?
Sorry, I'm just trying to remember. We haven't had a combat in a few sessions. So you have to equal or beat the difficulty between the two of you, and you're exceeding the difficulty maxes out at 3. So if you were to roll anything higher than 11, it's just going to max out at 3, or plus 3 beyond the 8. Sorry, does that even make sense? I feel like I'm explaining this so badly. What matters is after you've both made one fighting test, we'll take the margins of your results. If those are successes, we'll add them together. If they're failures, we'll subtract them both from 0. If they're a mixture, then we'll subtract one from the other. And you want to end with a total of 0 or more.
Right. So yes, So we basically where Yeah, we're both dicing against. It's not quite we're dicing against 16 because margins are truncated at
Mhm.
at 3. But
Mhm.
if one person missing by a point or two can be rescued by the other person making it by a point or two.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So with that in mind, I'm going to spend 6.
Nice.
All right.
And what
I
about
am good.
Dakota?
I will spend 5.
All right, so that means the lieutenant will go first, and
I should roll a die in there. It's
uh,
traditional.
we'll get you to
9.
roll that.
9. So I have a +1.
All right. Okay. You have a spend of 6 and a margin of +1.
Yeah, let me mark down
Right.
my spends.
Shall I roll as well?
Yes.
Just bear with me for a sec. So on a success, which is what you've got, you can narrate a little bit about your successful action, although not in itself resolving the fight.
Right.
And then you have to either pay the toll of 2, which is points taken from any combination of fighting, athletics, and health, or you can take the minor injury card.
What does the minor injury card do? Oh, it's a minor injury card. We don't know what it does yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I will pay the toll in athletics.
Great. All right.
So the narration is we managed to grab up the drive shaft and brace it cleanly as the thing charges at us.
All right. And then Dakota, so you're spending 5. Go ahead and roll d6 +5.
All right.
And you're looking for an 8 or better. Actually, I think a 7 or better will see you succeed in this combat overall.
Oh dear.
Oh my
Lord.
god!
How?
You
know,
I
I don't mean to be super. Sorry, you were saying.
I felt you.
I don't mean to be superstitious, but like my brain was like, as I hit the key, I hit the key. I start the sinking feeling immediately dropped in my chest before the 2 seconds it takes to get the die out.
Yes, well, if you had spent 6, it would have worked.
All right. Well, so on a failure, what we see is that it smashes the drive shaft out of the way. Nothing is now going to stop it from attacking you. Because it's a margin of 1, you, Dakota, are going to take the minor injury card, which is bruised while taking cover. If you want to find that card in the folder and add it to your character. That leaves you with a margin of less than 0. So you have failed to overcome the lion. The instructions to me are the GM describes their failure to achieve the objective, possibly including the circumstances preventing the victorious foe from killing the surviving PCs, which is lovely.
I can't find the cards. Where are the cards?
So have you got the folder?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it should be. Sorry, I'm just opening it up myself. There should be a PDF of or a folder of injury cards. And you're looking for the one called bruised while taking cover.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So the folder's called the Wars injury cards.
Yeah, I found it.
What does bruised while taking cover say?
Bruised while taking cover. There we go. Found it. It says discard by spending 1 point of health, fighting, or battlefield, or as recipient of 1 point first aid spend. Ain't so bad.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, if you want to, you can choose to discard that right away by making those spends. So it's not such a severe card, but it's also not like mechanically harming you as some of the cards would, except in the sense that if you get 4 of those, I think, then you're removed from play.
First opportunity I get after, like, in the between spaces between this scene and the next is when I attend to my own injuries.
All right. So I think that the lion will like menace you, force you both back up onto the stairs as you're forced to retreat from it, and then it will stop. It'll block you from coming back down. It's not clear, I guess, to you whether it's unable to climb the stairs, maybe something about the way its legs are joined, or whether it's more like it's herding you up towards the stairs.
So we weren't able to kill the lion, right?
No, you weren't.
Okay. Well, maybe it's I mean, maybe there's a ward that keeps it from going up.
Maybe.
It doesn't matter. We are going up.
All right, you're heading up the stairs. So we'll come back and see what you find up the stairs. But let's go back to the sergeant and Alphonse. So Alphonse, the sergeant has just called for you to take cover. The sergeant is himself taking cover. What do you do?
Jack, did you say take cover or cover me? Because I thought you said cover me. Like you're
Sorry, my
going
mistake.
into danger, and I need to draw a weapon, find the adversary, and fire.
I said get in cover, and are you saying this to me in character?
No, out of character. I didn't.
I said
it.
cover. Like basically get in cover now.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm diving for cover, so I'm assuming you see me going for cover. You should probably take cover as well.
Yeah, so I will also take cover.
And I just wanted you to clarify, where is the nurse while this happens? Had you left her tied up back by the house, or
no? I'm
you?
basically ducking behind a log where she was probably propped up against. So
cool.
She's close.
Okay, but she's not going to gain any cover herself.
Why would I do that?
Okay, just clarifying. So for both of you, this will be a difficulty 5 battlefield test to avoid sniper fire. So just choosing how many points from battlefield you want to spend and then rolling a d6 and adding them.
I will drop my remaining 3 points in. There's a 5.
Nice. Yeah, so you get into cover. That's fine. Alphonse, how many points will you spend?
I'm spending 2. Oh, you know what? I have to add a die to that. 1d6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. That's 7.
All right, nice. So you both dive into cover. The snipers both fire. And then you hear the sound of them like jumping up to run away. They're not sticking around for whatever aftermath. Paul Chastel, the villager you met the other day, starts calling out, no, calm, everybody, calm down. No shots, in heavily accented village French. And sort of him and his friends pause where they were walking down the street. Like they're not going to walk towards where the shots have just been fired. But you can safely emerge from your cover now.
I'm not emerging from my cover. I'm yelling, drop your weapons.
I think that he will yell back, no, there's no need for that. We're all friends here, right? We are on the same side.
I am drawing my sidearm and putting it to the nurse's head.
I'm going to point my weapon at the gentleman who's calling out, not disarming, and repeat, drop your weapons.
So sorry, I'm just looking to see if there's a relevant ability that you might test here.
Hmm.
Or I guess it's probably more like one of the interpersonal abilities that you might have. Yeah, I think that Jack, if you wanted to make an intimidation push, then they'll comply.
I'll go ahead and mark that.
All right. So yeah, Paul, like talks briefly to his friend and says, "All right. They take off their rifles and start lowering them to the ground, and they say, "We just wanted to talk. We want to find out what's happening. Why a house in our village is burning. May we approach?"
Leave your guns there.
They look at each other. They're a little nervous, clearly, but they do, and they walk towards you. And Paul, who seems to be the sort of leader or self-appointed leader here, looks to you, Jack, and says, "Sorry, can you explain why is the house burning? Can we put it out?"
No. You see, the house is burning because she decided to try to burn it down with me and a seconded private in it. So we are taking her back to the camp to be questioned. And in the meantime, since she seemed interested in burning her house down, we are letting that happen.
Nurse Sicard will look up at Paul Chastel and say, "Well, I only tried to burn it because I didn't realize this one has seen the yellow sign," and gestures at Jack. And Paul sort of takes a half step back at that. And Paul will say that he thinks the mayor would like to speak to all of you, if that's all right.
Hey, Jack. What's the yellow sign?
Alphonse, with all due respect, close your mouth. Sure. Let's talk to the mayor.
He looks at Nurse Sicard and he says, "Are you okay?" He seems, at least a little concerned for her welfare, for obvious reasons, or perhaps they're not obvious. She mutters that she's fine and that the king abides. Will you bring her with you to meet with the mayor?
Oh, why not?
All right. So they start leading you to the other, down the street, around the corner, towards one of the other sort of larger and nicer houses in town. But let's go back to the doctor's house. So you both find yourself blocked in on those stairs. The lion does not look like it will allow you to move back into the lounge room area. What do you do?
Of necessity, we'll go upstairs. I will draw my gun.
So the sound of machinery that you'd heard from outside is getting louder as you climb up the stairs, and you emerge in a small hallway. There are a couple of doors that lead off the hallway. One is open, and through that you can see some sort of bedroom. You notice that the bedroom floor is bare and scratched in the same way that the downstairs floor was bare and scratched. Scratches that seemed downstairs to have come from the lion's claw marks. There is a second door that leads off the hallway, probably to a small bathroom or something like that. And the sounds of machinery that you could hear are coming from a door at the end of the hallway. You can also see that there is some sort of like flashing and flickering red light coming from beyond that door. But the most striking thing about that door is that, based on the geography of the house and what you've seen from outside, it clearly can only open just onto the empty air. There's nothing beyond that door. What do you do?
A quick look in the bedroom to see whether there's anything of interest there.
Sure. So the bed has been pushed to the side. The room itself is a mess. something has quite badly scratched and torn up the floor. The main thing that you see in the room is a desk on top of which is some other sort of strange clockworkish machine. It's clearly been constructed by the same hand or in the same style as the Lion, but this looks more like sort of a combination between a car engine and a typewriter, maybe a printing press. There are keys like a typewriter, and there is a significant number of printed pages of some kind scattered around it on the floor and the desk.
How heavy is it?
Oh,
The desk?
the machine itself is like pretty heavy. You could carry it out, but it's bulky and unwieldy.
Like, are we talking like carry like the size of a heavy sewing machine, or are we talking about heavy like, two hands, in front of your chest heavy?
Like it's quite big, it's quite broad, so it would be two hands to carry. Like it's not. I'm trying to think of a good point of comparison. I think probably a large sewing machine is a good point of comparison, but I'm not totally sure how much a sewing machine weighs.
Take a photograph. Does this seem like an encoding machine?
I'm just looking. Oh yeah, you have military science, so
Yes.
it's not like any kind of encoding machine that you've ever seen.
Dakota puts her pistol away and proceeds to take pictures of the machine while Rostand ruminates on it.
Yeah. Are there windows?
Oh yeah, there's a window looking out onto the village.
I'm going to open the window. While the Dakota takes the picture.
So you take a picture of the machine. Do you want to look at any of the pages that are lying around it?
I do not want to look at them. I do want to take them.
Okay.
I remember our direction. I remember our directions. I'm going to pick up the machine. I'm going to carry it to the window. And I'm going to drop it out the window.
I knew it. I knew it.
Well, we are not carrying it down the stairs.
Yeah.
If I don't know if we can get away with it, but I'll aim for a bush. I'm not trying to smash it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it does get damaged, it's still better down there than here.
Just so.
I think maybe a difficulty 4 mechanics test to drop it without damaging it, or athletics might make sense as well. If anyone has another suggestion about a relevant ability here, I feel like we should have a test to see if it stays intact.
I'll do mechanics. It's using my vast experience of dropping things from second-story windows.
Nice.
7.
Yeah, so you place it nicely in a bush out there. It doesn't even make much of a sound. And then what will the two of you do?
I mean, we collected all the notebooks, right?
I have taken the notebooks, handed you some, put some in my satchel. I said, if should either of us fall, it would be good if command at least got some of this. And then we are going down to the impossible room where the machining noises are.
Okay. Which of you will open the door, or are you not opening the door yet?
Are you ready, Miss Sterling?
Sterling takes out her pistol again, and nods quietly to Rostand.
Open the door.
So the door opens onto a enormous city that you've never seen before. The city is plainly at war. There are bombs going off. There is sort of red haze hanging over the bombed-out ruins that you see everywhere. There is a lake. There is a palace that sits at the edge of the lake, quite beautiful and spectacular. You're looking out at it from a from a doorway that is much higher than the second story door that you're looking out of in the village that you entered from. You're looking out over the fire escape of a tall building as bombs go off all around you. What do you do?
What was making the machinery, besides gasping, what was making the machinery noises?
Yeah, so you're still not entirely sure, but there's all kinds of industrial noise around you. There are factories of some kind. There's also the sounds of trucks, tanks, explosions, things like that.
I make a gasp and grasp at the sill to steady myself.
I'll get you both to make a difficulty 4 composure test, please.
Yeah. Sterling probably walks through the door a bit, looking back.
No, no, you do not unless you go past my arm. I don't prevent you from seeing, but I do prevent you from stepping through the doorway, unless you wish to duck under.
Yeah, you can tell that she's motioning to get her camera just to sort of get the impossible on record.
I will remove my arm once I feel that she's not about to step over the threshold.
Yeah. So. But anyway, composure tests.
Yes, composure test. I will spend 2.
Yeah.
Control.
So on a margin, a miss with a margin of 1, you're going to get the shock card. Did anyone else see that? Oh, so you're both going to get the shock card. Did anyone else see that?
Did you roll another 1?
Yes, I did. What the fuck? Sorry.
This is not a good system to roll.
Pardon my French. Let me see.
Anyone else see that?
Also, it seems I have injury cards from last session. I forgot to delete those. From Paris.
Yeah, if you have any from Paris, they should certainly be deleted.
Yeah, they should certainly.
Okay. -1 to sense trouble. Discard as a recipient of a difficulty 4 morale success.
So what card do we draw? I'm sorry.
Did anyone else see that? It's a shock card, not an injury card.
Did anyone else see that?
Right.
There we go.
Take your pictures.
You're going to take some pictures?
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to get the card. Yes, I will.
I will take a gentle hold of her belt,
Mm-hmm.
and just in case the strangeness and height cause her to have an episode of vertigo. I do not desire that she accidentally.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. So Dakota does take her pictures.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking for photographs at, or you just want to kind of take the scene?
I think I want to take the scene, but definitely
the armored vehicles, the aircraft, that building, that strange tower there, whatever it is.
Yeah, I was going to get the strange tower and the lake as well. You said the lake was red or something, right?
Well, it's more like there's a redness in the air.
But the armored, the tanks and the aircraft will document that this clearly is not our war.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they look more like another level of evolution from the kind of strange machinery that you've seen through this war that started to emerge recently.
Yes.
Well, not strange to us, I guess, in this alternate timeline.
Once you
Well, I mean,
we do
it
know.
would have been strange to you at the start of the war.
I see. Yeah, but and this stuff that we're seeing right now beyond the door is just next level, basically.
Yes. Are you
Yeah.
done?
Yes. Taking pictures of the armored, of the current level technology and the distant palace.
All right. So we'll come back and see what happens in the doctor's house next. But let's start up at the mayor's house. So unless Jack or Alphonse, wants to go first, Paul will knock at the door at the mayor's house, and after a moment, she will open the door, and Paul will sort of do the introductions quickly. Her name is Moreau. She is the mayor. She is, used to odd interventions by soldiers at strange hours at this point in the war, so close to the front. And, after some confusion, she'll invite you all in to talk about whatever is going on here.
And I will
Sergeant,
thank her and step inside.
Sergeant, I find myself, of course, in a difficult position. I, don't mean to second guess whatever decisions you may have had to make, but, it troubles me for a home here to burn down, or for one of our residents to, well, it sounds like you're accusing her of fairly serious crimes.
Oh, indeed. She intended to murder myself and another soldier. That was, as she notes, before she became aware that I've seen the yellow sign.
You've seen the yellow sign?
Look at me, Mayor Moreau. Your nurse friend here seems quite adept at noticing who has and has not seen it.
I think the mayor will find all this a bit overwhelming. She'll start offering drinks or tea around, little snacks. Will the two of you take a tea or an alcoholic drink of some kind?
I will thank her for her hospitality and politely decline, and then look at Alphonse,
who already has like tea halfway to his lips.
Yeah, like basically saying, don't.
And then puts the tea back down.
What will happen to the nurse?
I have a commanding officer that I have to report to. I tried telling the nurse that sergeants are like the nurses of the military. That was when she tried to burn myself and another private alive. So just as the nurse reports to a doctor, I report to an officer.
Well,
I will need to present her.
Well, of course. Is there any reason that I should be concerned? This woman has lived among us, peacefully for some time now. Is there any reason to think that? I mean, why would she try and kill you like that?
Oh, as I said, she was not aware at that time that I had seen the yellow sign. I'm sorry. Is that confusing to you?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with these insignia. I'm not in the army myself. At that point, you hear someone.
Am I getting any kind of feeling that she's lying, that she's aware of the yellow sign?
Do either of you have assess honesty?
I do.
She is absolutely lying.
Yeah, and so should I spend a push for that, or is that?
No, you just get that.
And so I just call it I don't have a lot to contribute because, I just walked into this. I didn't see this yellow thing that Jack's excited about, but I can let him know, Jack, she's lying.
And almost as if to punctuate what you've just said, you hear a moan come from the far room beyond a door. She turns her head a little as she realizes that you've heard that and accused her of lying. She says, "All right, I've seen the yellow sign. You've seen the yellow sign. You can resist if you want, but the king will have you. Why don't you eat with us?" And she picks up the plate of canapes and offers them to you both.
I'm
So
sorry.
Jack, what's this about a king? Do you know?
Alphonse,
Yes?
could you take the nurse and wait outside, please?
All right. Take the nurse, slam the door when I exit.
Jack, are you going to ask the other villagers to leave as well, or are they staying?
How many people are in the room?
There's you, the mayor, and the 3 villagers who brought you here.
Okay. Let's see, what do I have here? Is it just the one room?
I know there's a door beyond which you can hear someone moaning.
Okay. But in other words, if there's just this room, if I were to go back out the door, I would be outside.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have any grenades in my kit?
Well, that will be a difficulty for a preparedness test.
Oh, what the hell? I'll go ahead and roll. And
Nice. Well, I think that means that you have a grenade.
My answer is, of course you have a grenade.
What are you going to do with it?
well, because I figured something like this was likely to happen, because this village seems to be the village of the damned, I'm going to slyly pull the pin and let this thing start cooking for a count of 3 before I chuck it at them and dive out the door.
And are you concerned at all that the grenade may hurt whoever's moaning in the next room, or is the moan just not one of your concerns?
I will feel bad about it later.
Okay. Alternately, if you want, I would let you make a difficulty 4 traps and bombs test to localize the damage so that only the people in this room are harmed.
That does seem like a good idea.
Right.
And I do happen to have exactly 3 points remaining in traps and bombs.
Convenient.
So, do you want me to roll or just say it happens?
If you just spend those points, then it happens.
I've spent the points.
All right. So you safely dive outside. Alphonse and the nurse, so you come crashing out the door as the room explodes behind you. And I think that's where we'll take our first break for today. And we'll come back in 10 minutes and see what happens next.
Okay. Back in a few.
Cool.
A lot in 1 hour.
Cool. Thanks. All right. Everyone ready to go?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So upstairs at Dr. Barbeau's house, have you finished taking your photographs? You close the door, or what's going to happen next?
Yeah, I back out. Well, to the 1 or 2 inches I stepped in, I back out back into the hallway.
I desire to close the door go back to the bedroom and try to make our way out through the window.
Yeah.
Alright. Would either of you like to make a sense trouble test?
Yeah.
There's a difference between liking and being willing.
Well, will
I think
either of you choose to?
I think after her encounter through the door, Dakota will definitely be a bit more wary about trouble.
Let me roll.
All right, so I will spend the one.
Well, so only one of you needs to make this roll.
All right, let's see.
If you're going to make it, spend both of your points.
Oh, did I spend
Dakota
both?
has the problem that Dakota cannot roll more than a 1 today on the dice.
Well, I rolled a 2 today, so that's good. It's still a 3 though.
You only spent 1 point.
Well, I thought I pressed 2, but apparently I pressed 1.
Okay. I cannot. I'd like the opportunity to contribute, please.
Oh yeah, I did. I found the rules for that. So
Yeah, you did. The piggybacking.
does anyone remember? Now I've already forgotten what it was.
I'm just frustrating Brandon today.
The cooperate
You
roll.
are.
Yeah.
Yes.
You make.
Well,
you can
I
go ahead.
I spend, but the first point doesn't count.
Right.
So if I see Dakota is distracted and not giving her all to this, then I would spend 2 points to give her a plus.
All right. Then you realize as you walk down the hall that the doctor is right behind you. There's no way that should be true. He can't. There's no way that he could have come from, but he is following you down the hall. He's holding something sharp and jagged in his left hand. What do you do?
Matthew?
The doctor. What did the doctor do? I'm sorry, I didn't catch
So
the whole.
he's
the
just
No,
doctor-
what do you do?
Yeah, so he's just following you down the hall at this point, but he seems to have appeared from nowhere. Like he can't have come back through that door behind you. He can't have come from anywhere else. He wasn't there a second ago, and now he's holding some sort of sharp, jagged object in his hand, and he's right behind you.
Would there be a chance for us to duck into the other room before he notices us?
He's definitely noticed you. He's actively following you, and he's very close.
Okay. If that's the case, then Dakota whips her pistol around and tries to take the doctor out.
All right. Well, this will be a combat then.
Yeah.
It seems that you have decided the goal will be to kill.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how many points will each of you spend from fighting?
This is fighting, right?
What is the difficulty?
Like he doesn't look very tough. He's a doctor. He's holding some sort of weird, somewhat unbalanced weapon. The difficulty will be 3.
I am spending. No, I'm spending 3. It's all I have left.
Yes. I will spend what I have as well.
How much is that?
2. So
Okay. I just asked because it kind of effectively is the initiative order, how many points you spend.
That's right. Yeah.
So sorry, that was 3 and 2.
I rolled a 6 total.
I got a 4.
6 total. All right. And what have you got, Lieutenant?
I got a 4.
Nice. Okay. So that is a success for you both. You both still have to pay the toll, but in this case the toll is 0, so that's all right. Final margin is more than 0. Do you want to narrate the scene? I mean, Dakota, you were there first with your gun.
Yeah, I think what happens is Dakota catches a reflection of the doctor in any surface that's in the room. Perhaps maybe like the surface of a table that is next to the door. And when she does, she whips out her pistol and spins around quickly, and not even really thinking to aim, just takes the shot on instinct and hits the doctor. I mean, is this a kill or this is the kill? So I guess, you know, shot right into the heart. I guess. Yeah.
Lieutenant, what do you do?
He's been shot in the heart. I
And I'm to blame.
I'm simply make certain that he is not able to stab anyone if he's not immediately dead, nor do anything else. If he tries to do anything else, I will put a bullet in his head.
Sure.
But otherwise, I will stand. And
he falls to the ground when you shoot him. He immediately drops the weapon that he was carrying. He's bleeding very badly from the heart. He's plainly going to die in just moments. You might have a chance to ask him one question if you want to before he passes. Is there anything that either of you will ask?
what is the name of that place?
Well, he can barely talk. It's very faint and quiet, but he says the word Carcosa as he dies.
Cool.
Quickly search him to see if he has anything of interest on this person.
And the knife is peculiar. You said, right? It's a peculiar kind of knife.
It's not a knife. It's sharp, jagged metal. It doesn't even really have a handle. His hand, you see now, is cut where he was clutching it.
Yeah, I get a cloth of some kind to pick up the knife and put it away, maybe to examine or to look at later.
Okay.
We must get out of here. We after a quick search, then. And unless intuition tells me otherwise, then I desire to leave.
Before Rostan can even speak, Dakota says, I've had enough of this place to last a lifetime. And beckons to the room where the exit is. Where our exit is.
I regret to inform you that you are likely to live a good deal longer.
I'm likely to what?
I said I regret to inform you that you are likely to live and experience a good deal more.
And then you're both jumping out the window. Is that the plan?
That is the plan.
So difficulty 4 athletics test to land without hurting yourselves.
Unless you want to do the old bed sheet trick, but I think at this point we just want to get the hell out of here.
No, yes.
All right, I am spending 3.
I will also spend 3. I don't desire to.
Nice. If you're spending 3, then you don't need to roll. Just mark down the spend, and you jump to safety.
All right.
So you both land in the bushes by the strange machine that you found upstairs. Will you take it with you?
I will. I'll try to put a loop through it so that I can carry it on my back.
Sure.
And so that I can dump it if I must. And then we will see if we can find the rest of our compatriots.
Well, you can certainly see smoke rising from a house not too far away. And if you have worked with Jack for a while, I suspect that you
already know.
Feel that you're on the trail. Yeah. And yeah, certainly, I mean, if you head that way, the neighbours will be able to tell you that that the other soldiers went onto the mayor's house and give you directions that way, and then you'll hear an explosion in the direction that they indicate. So yeah, I think you'll be on to.
And when I hear the explosion, I say to Dakota, "He's alive." That's good. That's good.
So, Alphonse, you're outside with the nurse. The explosion hasn't happened yet. We're just going to sort of cut back a little bit. Do you talk to her about anything while you wait for the sergeant?
If I have the opportunity, yeah. I'd like to, as soon as the door closes, turn to her and say, "So, what is this about the yellow sign that y'all are talking about?" Well, except in a Frenchy accent, not a y'all accent.
Sure. She says, "I'll show you," and she crouches down and starts to sketch an image in the dirt. Make a difficulty 6 composure test.
Okay. I'll spend 3 points on that.
Nice. So
Okay.
she creates this sign in the dirt, this strange little glyph, and it does have this kind of enchanting effect. You feel that you're almost like drawn into it somehow. She looks at you and she asks if you see.
Why is that so noteworthy? I mean, sure, it's got some waves and some lines that are appealing, but why does everyone care about this?
It is the king's symbol. It's what this whole war is about. It's what this whole world is about. And at that, there is the interruption of Jack like diving out through the doorway as the building explodes behind him.
Boom.
Jack, what do you do as you like pick yourself up?
Do I see the sign in the dirt?
I think that maybe the like shockwave sort of blows it away a bit. So you see that there was. You may notice that she had drawn it in the dirt, but it's kind of discomposed now.
You say, I should have told you not to talk to her. I draw my sidearm and shoot the nurse in the head.
All right. She's dead. The house is in ruins, but there is still a door that leads onto some sort of back room where you heard the moans coming. And I think around this time, the lieutenant and Dakota sort of come around the corner as well and start heading over to where you both stand.
Lieutenant, I suggest we treat this entire town as an active combat zone.
I agree.
Is there any chance that we can get any sort of air support?
Once we get to a point where there is a battalion radio, we can take such action. Is there anything remaining?
There was a door and I heard moans beyond it, but once I found out that the mayor had been compromised by the yellow sign, I acted. I presume the person behind it is still alive.
Well, then we should find out, because if they were being kept prisoner by these, they may not be. It's possible, at least, that they may have something to contribute and not merely reflects lies
In the meantime,
and strange inventions and impossible landscapes.
In the meantime, I suggest we treat anyone we see as an active enemy combatant.
Agreed.
Alphonse, in case this is unclear, that means shoot on sight. Don't ask for identification. Shoot them. Shoot to kill.
All right.
I suppose the same orders apply to me.
Yes.
They do now. And I pick up one of the hunter's rifles and hand it to you.
Dakota catches it.
All right. Let us see who your prisoner or subject or whoever they may be is, and then let us leave this cursed place.
So all four of you will approach the back room?
I think we should have at least one or two people standing guard. And I'd volunteer to stand guard.
Very well. Perhaps Alphonse will come with me then.
Yeah, I'll come.
You and Miss Sterling can look out for anyone from the village.
All right. So the lieutenant and Alphonse head to the back room and open the door, which is still standing thanks to the skillful placement of the grenade from Jack. As you push it open, you see a man lying on a stretcher with a grievous wound to his leg. You recognize Pascal, who was the pilot who'd been shot down, who you provided some aid to on your way to the prisoner of war camp a few sessions back. He looks feverish. He looks very, very ill. He looks to be dying. The other thing that you see around this room is that it is, a butcher shop, effectively. There is a great deal of meat that has been prepared in different ways, from sort of steaks to sausages. And you see human remains hanging from meat hooks that make it clear what the source of the meat has been. I'll get you both to make a difficulty 4 composure test. As you realize why the peasants in this area look so well fed.
Four.
Nice.
Spending every last drop of countenance I had left.
It is composure, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, Dakota. Nice. You finally rolled a good number. So you both...
that was Alphonse.
That was Alphonse.
Oh, sorry. Oh, nice. Well.
At last.
What was the pilot's name?
Pascal.
Pascal.
He moans.
Speak now. You're very sick. I don't know if you have much longer.
He's pretty feverish. He's pretty out of it. He doesn't particularly seem to take that in.
Pascal, what happened? How did you get here?
He sort of moans. He said he maybe mutters something about villagers. It's not very clear.
He's too disoriented to speak much.
Yeah, maybe a first aid test would difficulty 4 first aid test to
I will try, but I am all but spent. Four.
Nice. So yeah, you're able to bring him some, I don't know, to certainly not heal him, but to ease his pain and make him able to talk briefly.
Found a morphine.
Yeah.
Ampoule, perhaps.
He tells you that he was waiting for aid when the villagers came for him. They brought him back here. He's been watching while the mayor, butchered other soldiers who died here. She told me that they would do the same to me in my turn.
They are the ones who would have done this to you. At least some of them are dead, including the mayor. We will try to get Alphonse. Can you carry him?
Yes, I got him.
Okay. I will scrounge such medical supplies as there may be here, or for a future preparedness roll, and then let us go. If he lives, he lives. But we will not abandon him here.
Nice.
So Alphonse has him like fireman style over the shoulder with a gun in the other hand.
Nice.
Yeah. Jack. Yeah, if Alphonse doesn't have a pistol, the lieutenant will give him his pistol and take the rifle.
Thank you.
Take good care of the pistol. It was my father's.
I'll return it once we get out of here, sir.
Jack.
Sir.
We have rescued a friendly. He is quite ill and may not survive, but then again, he may. He is born witness. He is still alive, and I think we owe it to him to at least try. Let us leave this place while we still can.
Is there any chance we can find a car or truck around here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, surely you can, right? I guess that's a scrounging test.
Miss Sterling, you have a singular talent in that regard.
Sorry, I have a singular talent in what?
In that
Scrounging.
regard.
Yeah.
I've seen you find
Yeah.
find
Right.
fresh milk in a bombed out town before.
I was hoping no one noticed that.
So just a difficulty 4 scrounging test to find a serviceable truck.
All right. Let us.
Do not spare no effort.
Yeah. I spent 3.
All right, you don't have to roll then. That's a success.
All right.
So yeah, you find a truck. All of you can sort of pile into it. Load Pascal on as well.
I'll sit in the back with Pascal and keep my gun at the ready.
Alphonse, yes, Alphonse, if you would ride shotgun.
Yes, sir.
I will drive. We are not stopping for anyone or anything until we get back to.
I hand you back your gun since I'm not carrying a person, and a motion for my rifle.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we drive.
And are you driving back to the prisoner of war camp, or are you getting out of this entire area?
No, we are leaving the area. We have made a significant investigation, and at this point, would be foolishly risking our lives to remain, I feel.
All right.
Some of the instigators are dead, but there are many more villagers. And if they are not all in on this, well, a great many of them are.
All right. And you mentioned something about trying to find a battalion radio, so you're traveling to the nearest location where you know you could find something like that?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So it'll be quite a long drive through the night. Yeah. Is there, just looking at what general abilities might be relevant.
I don't have any points in first aid, but could I make a first aid roll to see if we can help Pascal?
I could do that.
Okay. Yeah, you actually do have points.
You can make a first aid test.
Oh, I have one last point. Lol. Let's give it a shot.
Nice.
Oh, that's a
Oh, yeah.
7.
Yeah, I mean, I intended that he would be dying, but I mean, you've had some good successes on first aid, so you think that he's going to make it as long as nothing bad happens.
Nothing bad happens, right?
Of course, what could go wrong? So I understand that the lieutenant and Alphonse are in the front seat, and Dakota and Jack are in the cab, I guess, or the tray.
Yeah.
Lieutenant and Alphonse, do you talk about anything as you drive?
Yes, I would like to talk about young women that we have known, and perhaps about wine and eating establishments, and if you know any, do you know any good songs, Alphonse? Can you sing?
Of course, sir. Yeah, I know some of the songs of the countryside.
Anything about love and about life.
And Nicholas, the player, does not know songs, but
Sure.
Alphonse,
Yes, sing raspberries, strawberries, or something. It's
exactly.
if you,
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
if you want to make a morale test of 4, you can.
make what?
If you want to make a morale test with a difficulty of 4, you may.
Uh-huh.
As both
I
Miss Sterling and I have had a little bit of a shock, and something pleasant like that would be a tonic.
I don't know why we can't all just take turns, building up to a song.
It can, but if
For
Alphonse
some
was saying,
reason, yeah. For some reason, I have animals like House of the Rising Sun in my head, but that's just me.
that's not a good song for this.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's bad.
Yeah. So I think Alphonse sings a song about someone who left their homeland and came back, and like the difficulty of reintegrating with a land that they had once left, and that's the song that you get.
The only song I can remember right now off the top of my head that fits that description is Space Oddity, and I'm pretty sure we don't have space travel yet.
Nope.
And sorry, Brandon, did you say
Yeah.
it was a morale test or a morale spend to
It's
clear
a
the car?
morale. It says a morale test of 4
So I
Okay.
should make a
to
morale
clear the
test.
car. Yes,
Mhm.
if you would spend. Yes, if you would.
I will spend 3 morale.
Oh,
All right. So you don't need to roll then. So
Yeah.
obviously that succeeds. All right. So you don't talk about anything relating to the investigation or the events of the town. You're just trying to distract yourselves. That makes sense. Jack and Dakota in the tray. What about the two of you?
I'm just scanning.
I think when Alphonse sings, like, Nah, it's okay. I was thinking, like, could I find an instrument around here to go with? like even just a harmonica or a
That sounds like
guitar.
a preparedness test.
Oh, you know what? That's something I don't have. But
yeah,
let's
but you can
Well,
see.
still roll.
Yeah, it's
Preparedness
going to
0.
be just roll for it. I think a difficulty 2 to have a harmonica on hand.
Okay, sure, let's do it. 6.
Nice. You've got a very nice harmonica.
Yeah, to go with your song. Yeah, so I sing along with Alphonse, or I play along with Alphonse, rather.
All right. So I think that you drive through the night, and as it gets close to dawn, you're arriving in I don't know French geography well enough to say what this might be, but a sort of medium-sized town where there's a modest military base, somewhere that you'd have the kind of radio that you're looking for. Um,
And
the
the first aid station.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Are we in south of France? Is that where we are?
you're kind of near the eastern border, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The invasion's coming from the east,
Yeah.
so we're probably in the Alsace-Lorraine area.
And so the guards at the gate will come to ask what you're doing. They weren't expecting you.
We are a unit of the, as you can see from identification, we are from military police. We're conducting an investigation into a town some distance from here. We have finished our investigation and are in need of food, drink, sleep, and medical attention for a pilot whose vehicle crashed and that we discovered.
We also need to call in an airstrike.
Yes, I also need to speak with battalion on the radio.
So he definitely is taken a little aback by the mention of an airstrike, but they call through to whoever's in command, and then they wave you through. They offer you directions. We can take this man to the infirmary. If you want to rest right away, there's some space in the dormitory over there. If you want to use the radio, it'll be this way. The captain on duty would like to speak with you if you have time, but it's early. You may need to rest.
Of course. Jack, use your judgment.
We need the airstrike taken care of immediately, and we need to get the pilot medical attention. We can rest after these things are done.
Yes. I will go and speak to battalion command directly. So I'll have to get clearance from the I'll just go straight to the radio room and say I have a dispatch.
Yeah, I mean, I think with your leadership ability, they'll allow that. You can. Are you calling into the general who assigned you, or who are you?
Yes.
How do you see this working?
Yes, I'm going into the assignment. I say we have details of investigation to follow. We have retrieved some artifacts and a witness who was badly wounded but may live. A full report is to follow, but there are enemy partisans who have concealed themselves in certain buildings in the village and the prisoner of war camp, and these places should be eradicated as quickly as possible. And I list off high priority targets, the top of which is the doctor's house.
So the general is listening to what you say, but the suggestion that he should call in an airstrike on a prisoner of war camp really stops him. That's, I mean, we sent you there to identify individuals who may be acting against.
Yes, what we found there was an entire village that had gone over, sir.
Nonetheless, it would be a war crime to bomb civilian targets, much less our own forces.
Sir, the prisoners of war were being used as resources by the enemy.
So Brandon,
More than that,
Jack is nearby.
I cannot say in over this communications medium.
So Brandon, just for clarity, are you alone in the room making this broadcast, or is Jack with you, or are all of the others with you?
I think Jack must be with me.
All right.
Let the privates
Sir, may I?
then yes.
General, have you ever heard the phrase long pig?
So I, as Shane, do not know what this phrase means, but I'm not sure whether it would make sense that the general knows what you are referring to.
Isn't it? It means human flesh being served as food.
Oh. The
So I will
Why do I know that?
give the general a brief coded message. We probably don't have any code other than like a cipher, so I'm just going to spell it out letter by letter.
Mm-hmm.
Prisoners slaughtered for food by village.
So he takes that in. I guess it will take him a moment to decipher it. You realize that you can just barely hear someone is whispering to the general. He's not answering directly. He's relaying to you what someone is whispering to him, is what you think. And he says, "Did you recover any occult texts?"
We will have a summary of all of that in our full report, sir.
What else will he ask? He will, again, you hear this very faint whispering. And then he says, sorry, bear with me for 1 sec. He says, "And Sergeant Hardesty, is that you that I hear?"
Sir,
"Did you locate Ada Wharton?"
I flash Jack a look with my eyebrows raised.
and I'm going to gesture to cut the mic, or at least take your hand off the speaker.
Yeah, I do.
Sir,
I say to the radio operator, "I'm sorry, we seem to have run into some static. I'll try again later."
You hear the general's voice come through clearly nonetheless and says, "And Lieutenant, did you encounter your Caroline?"
I think it's time to get something to eat and to go to bed, don't you, Sergeant?
yes, indeed.
Right. Let's come back to the two of you. The two privates. While were you accompanying Pascal to the infirmary? Were you just going to like rest? Were you getting some food? Like what have you two been doing?
We are ensuring the welfare of the pilot for sure. For Pascal.
Definitely.
All right. So you take him to the infirmary. It's clear that he's in good hands there. The doctors are concerned that they may have to amputate the leg. Quite high. But they compliment you on the skill with which you've applied first aid. And they say that this man would not have made it without your intervention. And then what do the two of you do?
Well, Dakota, it's been quite a while since I've had a meal. I'm gonna head over to the mess hall.
I could use a drink.
All right. So you arrive in the mess hall. You notice that it's quite a strange space. It's almost laid out more like a theatre than like the mess halls that you're used to. Let's take our second break here, and we'll come back just after the hour, if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Sounds
great.
good.
I'm back.
Great. Are we all good to continue? So I wanted to ask, before we do that, Brandon, is the lieutenant still carrying the machine on his back? Is it in the truck? Is it back in the village? What has happened to it?
No, the machine would have been left in the truck, not visible.
Okay, like covered with a tarp or something.
Yes, but I'm not. It's a heavy thing. I couldn't.
Yeah. All right.
There was no. I mean, it might be in the cab if it's small enough to fit in there, but it's covered up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it makes sense. It's in the back. All right. So I think that unless there was particular stuff that you wanted to do, the four of you probably then assemble in the mess and are able to get some food and rest a little bit. Do you talk at all about what's been going on, or are you just going to crash for the night?
I recommend that we discuss things tomorrow.
So they've indicated to you a dormitory where you can all sleep. They apologize to the lieutenant that they don't have, a private room
That's
available.
fine. All of the anything that we brought with us that is evidence, I will put have put under my bed. Well, I have to catalog it all, and I'd be very unhappy if any of it went missing.
So certainly some of the soldiers on the camp, even though it's very early, like the first sort of light of dawn is just sort of starting to rise, people will take some interest in the strange machine, partially covered by a tarp as you carry it across to stick under the bunk. And you all lay down to get some sleep. What do you think? Like you all probably sleep for a few hours. Like it's probably not that you lay out for a full 8 hours, right?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not sure my eyes are even going to close, but I have to try to get some. We all have to try to get some rest because we are exhausted.
Just being on the horizontal is some kind of, reprieve.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then you wake up the next morning. Well, you wake up, I guess, late in the morning, maybe early in the afternoon. What do you do?
I begin when I get up earlier than the others. Not that crazy early, but enough to sort of get a head start on making tea for the morning and reading the notebooks that we took from the house.
Miss Sterling.
Yes.
If
Not
you
reading
would
too.
If you would, I'm sure they have a facility here that you can, a place here that you can use. If you can develop your photographs.
Mm-mm. Oh yeah, that.
If you photographs are more durable than negative film, and that way also you can make 2 prints, please.
Can we retcon just a little bit? And instead of me going straight to bed, I develop my pictures over the night.
Yeah, I think that would maybe be like. Sorry, where am I?
She's a photographer, after all.
Yeah, so I mean,
If I
I'm not
recall
thinking about the
correctly,
photographer.
photographs took a little bit more time to develop back in the day.
Yeah, so like mechanically, you absolutely can do that. There's no question you can develop photographs. I think maybe just a difficulty 4 health test to see if you're able to sort of stay awake long enough to do it. Because I imagine you're all pretty exhausted.
Sure. Let's put a 2 on that. 1d6 plus 2. 5.
Nice. So yeah, you were able to develop the photos before going to bed. You were surprised to see the same symbol appearing again and again in these photos that you don't recall seeing in, quote unquote real life as you looked out that door. Can you make a difficulty 6 composure test for me?
Sure. Let's see. Difficulty 4, you said?
I said difficulty 6.
Oh, difficulty 6.
Mm.
Let's see. I guess we're burning composure.
That's what it's for.
Nice. So yeah, you've seen the yellow sign, but it has not overcome you. You don't quite understand how it's appeared as it has in the photos. Like at first it seemed like a printing error, but the way it repeats, it's not that. And then you have the collection of photos that you can take and get at least a little sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just wanted to clarify the printed material that you collected from the doctor's house. It wouldn't have been in the form of notebooks. It was more like loose sheets of paper,
Yes.
like individual printed pages.
Oh, maybe Nicholas can bind him into a notebook.
Maybe.
If only he was a character in this game and not a player.
Don't you know all
Thankfully
tabletop?
he's not. So thankfully he's not.
So
Don't
yes.
you know all tabletop games are just a nexus to another dimension?
So the next morning, late, close to noon, I imagine, as you all start to wake.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty obvious that I haven't slept. My bed is still made, and you hear the sound of a knife being sharpened outside.
So I think again a difficulty 4 health test if you haven't slept at all, or if you've kept working.
Are you cool with me just spending the 3 points?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Anytime you just want to spend enough points to make it impossible to fail, you can just do that.
Okay, done.
All right. Alphonse, did you sleep?
I did, and I wake up to that grinding knife, and I want to step out into the area that Jack's in and talk to him a little bit, hopefully one-on-one, and say, Jack, what happened back there? What was all that?
Alphonse.
Yeah.
You seem like a good chap. So before I answer that question, I'm going to ask you one. Would you ever like to sleep again?
Yeah, I like sleep.
In that case, I know this is an answer you're not going to be happy with, and it's not a satisfying one. I did what was necessary.
No, I know you did what was necessary, but what was with the village, the people? Why were they Is that what the enemy does? They eat other people?
Alphonse, if I told you the answer to that question, I don't think I could live with myself. There's a reason why I checked to make sure that sign had been erased. If you can forget it, please do. I'll give you one piece of advice.
All right.
To the extent that you can, leave. Find some civilian clothes, put them on, leave, and vanish.
All right, Jack. And I wander off to the mess hall.
Well, before you do that, would either of you like to make a sense trouble test?
Sure.
Just for the record, I'm not eating at the mess hall.
Okay.
Not after that conversation with the general.
That is a 4.
So now that you see the base in like daylight, you can't help but notice that it has a sort of stagey quality, more like a set than the military bases that you've been on before. You still head off to the mess?
No, I'm going to point that out to Jack and say, Jack, what's up with this place? Why does it look like they're just staging it? Why does it feel like I could break through one of these walls easier than I should be able to?
Because this looks like an uncanny reproduction of what I set fire to at the POW camp. Like I said, Alphonse, put on some civilian clothes and leave.
All right. So I'm just going to cut back to the dormitory, where I think that Dakota and the lieutenant both got at least a little sleep. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. And you wake up, you see that, Alphonse and Jack are gone, but you can probably hear their voices just outside. What do you do?
I reach underneath the bed and take my envelope of photos. I make a cup of tea and I put the water in the heat and I go to mess hall.
So before that happens, as you reach under the bed, you hear a kind of a wet sound under the tarp where the machine sits.
A wet sound from under the what again? Where the machine
Under the
sits?
tarp where that machine is. Like the wet sound seems to come from the machine, although it's covered up at the moment.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that Dakota will approach the wet sounding tarp. Why is she like this? Why is she the way that she is?
And do you uncover it?
Yes.
All right. So, Lieutenant, you're probably awake at this point as well. You can see that Dakota is sort of fishing around under the bed. What do you do?
Miss Sterling, what are you doing?
I heard something. There's something underneath here.
Is anything moving?
I guess like she pulls the tarp to find out if anything is moving.
I take her wrist gently before she does that. Is anything moving?
No, I think that Dakota had already reached for the tarp and can pull it aside before you can grab her wrist. So nothing is moving. But you can see that the machine, when you put it under there, it was, odd looking, but made up of machinic parts that were
Yeah,
recognizable.
metal, steel, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Now it has a whole array of sort of organic matter growing from it, attached to it, scraps of mucous membrane that extend in odd directions, glistening, bloody tissue. What do you do?
I don't.
Um,
At the look on Dakota's face, I simply fling the tarp back over it without casting my eyes down.
Dakota, I'll get you to make a difficulty 4 composure test, please.
composure? What composure?
You can still roll a die.
I can still roll a die. Ooh yeah, it's a
Nice.
5.
Yeah, you hold it together.
Don't look at things you do not have to look at from this point forward, please.
But
what? If it begins to move around, you can pick up the nearest billet of wood and strike it until it stops.
Dakota narrows her eyes, but she and opens her mouth as if to say something, but then stops. It's not. It's not an angry. It's you don't get any sense that Sterling was going to rebuke Rustan in any way, but she definitely had something to say, and she just stops.
You needn't hold your tongue if you have something that must be said.
You might think me mad, but I want to know why this is all happening and why we're all here. I cannot shake this feeling.
I cannot satisfy your hunger for knowledge.
Until everything is clear before me, I don't think anything can. I will not be satisfied with but a single morsel or a tiny tidbit. I need to see the bigger picture. No pun intended.
Well, then you'll have to go on living. And the best way to do that is to limit how much you see at one time. The only way.
Is that how you got through these years? Putting limits on yourself?
Yes.
I mean no disrespect. I'm just asking, what is it what experiences have you had that have compelled you to narrow the window, to close the blinds?
I had repeated and extensive conversations with a ghost who seemed in all ways to be substantial.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. That's not the answer I was expecting.
That is not the only thing I have seen, but it is the one that I can actually speak of because it was my own experience. I do not like this place. And we need to divest ourselves of what we have found.
All
So
right.
at this point, you're interrupted by the tannoy speakers that start to reel off a set of announcements. Boring information about assignments and things like that. You can continue your conversation, but it sort of drones in the background until after a minute or so, it's interrupted by shrieking. There are screams. There is audible gunfire, laughter. Shouting, and after like quite a drawn out period, maybe 30 seconds of screams and shots and things like that. It falls silent.
I think right before that cacophony, I think is when sort of like Dakota wraps up the conversation by saying like, well, first of all, she didn't know. That's not the answer she was expecting. And out of respect for how seriously Rostand is taking it, she will not push the matter of her curiosity further, or at least try to keep it a little bit more under control. And then the screaming and wonderful stuff happens.
We need to find the others now.
And Dakota heads straight into the mess hall, hoping she will see Hardesty or Alphonse.
I think that you'll find them both just outside your door. Like
Okay.
Alphonse hasn't had a chance to leave yet, but all four of you have just heard these screams and shots.
Is anyone else in the building like responding to these noises?
You can't see anyone else around.
This is just like Jack. This is this bears on what you saw, doesn't it?
Sir, I think we should all go back into that room and talk.
Let's do so. But I think we must come to the conclusion here that this place is not what it seems like.
Sir, the conversation with the general last night.
Yes, he spoke of things he could not possibly have known about.
I believe
You hear footsteps approaching.
And I will draw my pistol and I will aim it center mass at the door. And say,
Sterling was about to do the same too, but
Yeah,
I believe we should all separate.
Alphonse also draws a rifle, hunts his rifle out, and points it.
So what I understand is that you're all in the dormitory where you slept with the door closed, and you've all got your weapons trained on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay. Sorry, continue.
Sir, to the extent that we're capable, I believe we should leave this dormitory, take on civilian clothes, and vanish. The war is lost. All we can do now is take the things that we have learned and fight from the shadows.
I agree. The war is lost, but a different war may yet prevail.
And then
they can delude us and frighten us. But we may yet prove more resourceful than they understand.
And then is the intention that you open the door and try and make your way out?
Oh, I'm waiting to see if anybody tries to come through that door.
Well, so far nobody has. The footsteps seem to settle nearby.
We are military. We are all in the military. We will attempt to exfiltrate.
All right.
Keep the photograph. Keep the lightweight things. I'm going to abandon the machine.
Can I roll to see if I have another grenade or some form of explosive on me?
Yes. I think we said that was a difficulty 4 preparedness test.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I've used everything. I've used. Yeah. Okay. So
we're not going out the door. Okay.
All right. So now I don't have any explosives left.
Yeah. Sounds like the lieutenant has a plan, though.
This is there is more than one way out of a dormitory. There's certainly windows. I don't intend to go the way that it is expected that we should go.
We could always
Yeah.
go through a wall.
Jack, yeah, were you looking for a
No,
grenade because you wanted to knock a wall down? I mean, we talked about this earlier. These walls are insubstantial. I could just punch right through it for you.
I actually was thinking that we might need to drop a grenade to cover our exfiltration, but some form of explosive would be quite welcome at the moment.
Do you want me to check for preparedness?
Unless you scrounged something.
All right, let's scrounge. Let's see if there's something here.
What are you trying to scrounge?
Explosives for the lieutenant's plan, or is it Hardesty's plan?
And we need
someone
to make sure that
someone may have it in their footlocker.
that
Yeah,
machine needs to be destroyed.
All right, scrounging. Let's
Yes,
go.
we can do it. We can't do it. We can't necessarily do it quietly.
So Dakota, let me just tell you, it's going to be a difficulty 6 scrounging test to find a grenade in someone's footlocker. It's going to be a difficulty. It's going to be a difficulty 2 scrounging test to find something under the tarp with the strange machine. Where do you want to look?
Oh wait, let me turn on the camera so you can see me.
You know where you want to look.
I know where I want to look. Wait, where do I want to look, Brandon? What do you think?
Look under the tarp, for goodness sake.
Okay, let's look at the tarp.
So
That's a
you see
difficulty 2.
something that is clearly a grenade of a kind lying just beside the machine, but it's made of meat, flesh of some kind, as well as metal.
Okay,
it looks
so
like it would work just like a grenade. It has a handle that you can pull off and throw.
So when Dakota picks up the grenade and puts it, she makes sure that when she does it in a way that is not visible to Rostand or
Right.
Hardesty or Alphonse.
She'll
But
need
she
to make
assures them.
she'll need to make a difficulty 4 composure test.
Okay, let's see that. Let's see that happen. Oh, it's a 4.
Nice. It has the most horrifying texture beneath your fingers. But sorry, you were telling us that you were
Is
going
it
to
wriggling? Is that what it's
it?
doing? Is it wriggling too?
No, it's not moving. It's not breathing. But it feels like flesh.
All right, so and when she gets it and sort of like she makes it so that it's not apparent to anyone, and then just like assures Hardesty and the rest, like I have a grenade, just say when.
As far as this machine goes, Jack, kill it, or I will.
Beg your pardon? I didn't hear the last part.
I said kill it, or I will.
Is this something that I could kill by just stepping on it?
So it's really unclear what would be involved in killing it. It has some organic material attached to it, but it doesn't seem to be alive in any sense that you would recognize. You think it's the kind of thing that you could dismantle or destroy just by hitting it hard with a blunt object, like the butt of a rifle or something.
Thankfully, I haven't received any orders from the machine to protect it.
That'll do then. Rifles we have.
Yeah, you shatter the machine. It's tough work, but it's relatively easy. You hear a single set of footsteps approach the door of the room that you're in, turn the handle, and then stop. There's a sort of heavy breathing from the other side of the door.
Let us depart via a window.
Who's going out the window first?
Alphonse.
Yeah, I was going to say
Alphonse is already halfway out the window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Secure the area. We are immediately behind you.
All right. And so is the intention that Dakota will be the last one out and will throw the grenade?
I think I'll go last.
Does that mean you're taking the flesh grenade from Dakota?
Unless you want to drop the grenade and like risk being with whatever's on the other side of that door.
Sorry, what did you say? I didn't catch that.
Do you want to be last through the window and drop the grenade and maybe you have to deal with whatever's on the other side of the door, or do you want to head out before me?
Dakota, give your grenade. Give the grenade to Jack, please.
Dakota shrinks under the remark and hands the grenade over to Hardesty.
So Jack will now also need to make a difficulty 4 composure test as you touch this fleshy thing.
I'll just spend 3 points.
Sure. So certainly disgusted, but not.
My visual of his composure test is exactly the face that he makes in this avatar. Like that's his composure face. He's like, "You handed me that."
I mean, that isn't even the worst thing I've seen this morning. So,
Jack,
yes, sure.
ready when you are. Give us as much time to get away as possible.
Oh, of course. I'll make a bloody good show of it.
And can I ask, Jack, is your intention to drop the grenade and then try and get out the window, or are you sacrificing yourself here?
I haven't quite decided.
Okay.
I'm perfectly happy with Jack coming out the window and then pitching the grenade in. There we go.
Do you want to do that, Jack?
I can certainly do that.
All right.
The war still needs you, Hardesty.
So as Jack, I guess, is the last one, sort of jumps out the window, the grenade goes off behind you. All of you find yourself falling further than you'd expected out the window, but you land without injury on a stage. You find yourself looking out at an audience. Hard to see exactly how large because of the stage lights, but they seem to be dressed in sort of old-fashioned, Parisian clothing from around the turn of the century. What do you do?
I open fire.
The people in the audience begin to scream. Run. What were you going to say, Lieutenant?
We may have allies here, Jack. Stop.
I'll grudgingly lower the weapon.
Put up. I'm going to make a leap of intuition. Caroline, where are you?
There is a kind of muffled cry from somewhere deep in the audience. And the other thing that you hear is the sound of soldiers of some kind, masked, dropping to the stage behind you with old-fashioned weapons of some kind.
Yeah, let us run. Let us run into the audience, and I will try to find the young woman whose countenance I know very well.
So it will be a difficulty 4 combat to escape from the assailants. Is everyone happy with that?
Difficulty what again?
4 to escape.
Sorry, what is the skill?
Is it fighting?
It's a combat, so it'll be fighting.
Okay.
I see.
Yes, well, Dakota and I are out of fighting, so it will be exciting.
It says 0 for you. You're not
Yes,
counting up?
I'm counting down.
Okay. I'll just go ahead and spend.
I've done a lot of fighting.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask this. Seeing that Dakota and Rostand are struggling, is there anything that I can do to basically secure their escape, considering that I've got 10 fighting?
And yeah, Alphonse is in on that as well. If there's something that Alphonse and Jack can do to
So, I mean, just the way that combat works is that it's essentially the average of all your successes and failures. So, putting
Okay.
more of your fighting points into your tests, it will bring up the result for the whole group.
Nice.
Although
So-
succeeding by more than 3 doesn't help.
So what I was going to say is, does that mean that if Nicholas and I each spend 6, that brings the average up to 12, so we all succeed?
No, because of like Brandon just said, you max out your margin at +3. So
Uh-huh.
if you succeed by more than +3, then it
So we
only
can't
counts
spend
as 3.
we can't spend 3 each for Dakota and Francois.
No.
Okay. All right. So I will spend 3 points in fighting.
3. Lieutenant, what are you spending? 0, isn't it?
0.
Yeah. And 0 for Dakota. Is that right? And Alphonse, how many points?
4.
All right. So,
So we maxed out at
Alphonse,
3, right?
well, at +3 over the margin of difficulty.
So the margin of difficulty is what, 4? You said?
Yes, the difficulty is 4. So the highest sort of effective roll you can make is 7.
Yeah. So if you want to guarantee a 7,
Oh.
it's
Oh,
really
I'd
6.
like to bump mine up to a 5 then.
Sure.
Okay.
Pocket, do you want to reconsider?
So let's see. The highest effective margin I can get. I can't do math right now.
You want a total of 7. That's as good as you can do here.
Go
Really.
for 5.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and dump 5 in.
All right.
And let's go ahead and roll.
Sure. Sorry, I'm just filling out the fight tracker.
There's
What have
8.
you got? 8. Nice.
And
So that-
Dakota. Okay.
So
that's
Alphonse,
11.
you'll go second.
Oh, and I did it. I rolled an 11.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you're sitting on a margin of 6.
I have a 2.
So that takes. Hang on. Sorry, let me just catch up. So that's a margin of 6 altogether. The lieutenant, sorry, rolled a 2.
I'm down 2. We have a margin of 4.
Yeah. So Dakota
Which
just
means
needs
Dakota-
0. Just needs to roll a 4 to escape.
Roll a 6.
Nice. So do you want to narrate the scene? How you get away from these people as they chase you?
I do like the idea of Jack and Alphonse kind of taking up the rear and probably firing into these actor / combatants that are pursuing us.
I would, as I said, I would like to, if we heard a voice, if Caroline is in the audience, she says, "Quick, this way."
All right. So she does indeed. She seems to recognize the 4 of you, although she looks younger than you recall, Francois. And she beckons you towards an exit. The forces who are chasing you are shooting into the audience as well, so there's quite a chaos. People are running, people are getting shot. We're stumbling over bodies in the aisles, but you get away. And I think that's where we will finish our wars sequence. So next week we'll be playing in the aftermath, which will bring us up more or less to the present, or sort of an alternate version of the present. But if
So
it's all right,
2010s, 2020s, basically.
yeah. The
All right.
And if it's all right, I will end the recording here. Is there anything else that anyone wants to get in before we leave this scene?
I think.
No, just Rostan says to Caroline, I knew if I looked hard enough, I would find you.
She looks back at you and she says, "Oh, Francois, you have no idea. You don't know anything."
No. We know nothing, but we have heart. And that will have to do.
All right, and that will be the freeze frame that the episode ends on. So I'll end the broadcast here, and then if it's all right, we'll do a round of stars and wishes.